Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Saturday, March 21st. Celtics in the home stretch of the regular season. They're coming back home for a 3-game stretch after beating the Grizzlies in Memphis. And the playoffs are just a few weeks away. How you doing, Sam?
Ah man, we're almost there. We almost made it to the most wonderful time of the year until it's not. Yeah, only I think 12 games left for the Celtics after Memphis on Friday, so we truly are getting there. And the closer the playoffs are, the better. Today we'll talk a little bit about what we're looking to see from the Celtics over the last couple of weeks of games. Talk about Jaylen Brown because we'll tell you exactly what happened yesterday, and then we'll go through emails. We'll go around the NBA, talk about the latest trends and rumors, and we'll do the rat list and get out of here. So stick around through all of it. We appreciate you guys for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Jack and I are here every single day with new stuff. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And game recaps more after each game. Other videos are here in between, yada, yada, yada. Without further ado, 12 games left for the Celtics. And little bit of time to get some storylines out and see how they resolve themselves.
Yeah, Celtics have not the easiest schedule down the stretch. They have some decent teams on their slate. Second seed in the Eastern Conference would have some pretty significant ground to make up to get the 1 seed. They are, I don't want to say comfortably ahead of the Knicks. They're not comfortably ahead of the Knicks, but they do have a 1.5 game gap. So if they do their job, they should be okay. But we can go back and forth, say some things we're looking for in these last 12 games. Minnesota, OKC, Atlanta, Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, Milwaukee, Toronto, Charlotte, New York, New Orleans, Orlando. So like I said, there's some games in there where it's like not the best team, but you've got a lot of teams in and around that play-in to playoff range to play. So, Sam, what are you looking for in the last 12?
I feel like the most obvious is how does Jason Tatum continue to progress? What does he look like as games 80, 81, 82 start to roll around? Because up until yesterday, and I just think yesterday is yesterday, it's not something to panic about or feel about any sort of way. It just was the first time that we'd seen him play a game that it wasn't his best game yet, right? He's done a great job of kind of getting better with each, ensuing game. And then in Memphis, he just had an off night, which is going to happen, simply put. But, you got Minnesota and OKC, which without Anthony Edwards, Minnesota has a little bit less juice. But that game Wednesday is one of the bigger tests that the Celtics have had all season. And then you go and you see Atlanta on Friday, who's been red hot. Like showing up in those games, playing against a team like OKC that has really good wing defenders and is probably the best representation of what you can expect come playoff time, even if they're not at full strength, right? Like they're just as good if they're like at 75% as a lot of these Eastern Conference teams would be in terms of being equipped to defend the Jays, and also White and Pritchard, who have had their own bursts this season. So seeing how he handles that and fares against OKC, considering he didn't play in the game actually in Oklahoma City, maybe they'll rest him again because they're afraid of Lou Dort. But watching Tatum come along, seeing how he progresses, because I think there have been moments where you're like, oh, he's still learning there. Like last night when we did the game recap, talking about him going to the rim and not dunking the ball in moments where you'd expect him to dunk it, or sometimes he just doesn't seem to have the lift on those drives that he would have had in the past, which is part of the reconditioning, part of the reacclimating the body to NBA game speed. I'm sure he's playing on tired legs a lot of the time too. So seeing the kinks get ironed out is one of the top things that I'd be looking for over these next couple weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of all about Tatum at this point. Obviously, the rest of the Celtics have to do their jobs. Jaylen Brown's been incredible. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, but like the team is kind of the ceiling is very dependent on how good Jason Tatum can be. I don't know what it'll look like at peak form. I don't know if he gets back to full Jason Tatum this season. I don't know if they want him to get back to full Jason Tatum this season, in the sense of like they've already established a way they're going to play. So it's probably more on him to, feed into that way rather than going back to how they played with him in years past. I think it's looked good. I think you've seen the flashes of how it can work. I think having him as an extra backline defender is useful. I think having his defensive rebounding has clearly improved the team's defense. I think at his best, the offense has been great. Obviously, he didn't make a ton of shots in the Grizzlies game, so it was an awkward time to talk about it. But his gravity alone, like, has been very useful for the Celtics. You've heard Jaylen Brown talk about it. Like, they don't want to guard, or they're not sending as many doubles at him because Jason Tatum's on the floor. And so, if nothing else, that's a win for Jaylen Brown. So, I think just seeing him get more comfortable within the flow of things is going to be an important thing. I'll take the easy route, health. No, none of them could play in no games. They could all sit the rest of the regular season, and as long as they're healthy for playoffs, it's fine. Right? Like, just be very careful because I know there's a little bit more room for error technically if we want to talk about it because Tatum's back, and all season we've been like, oh, you don't have a lot of room for error because Tatum's not there, and they're really good. But what if Jalen or Derek or Peyton misses time? Well, if any of them miss time in the playoffs, it's a lot worse than if they had missed time in the regular season. So I don't know what it looks like. I don't think the Celtics have a team of guys who want to sit, so I don't think we'll see many guys sit for rest until the last 2-3 games of the season. However, uh, staying healthy is by far, at least in my opinion, the most important thing heading into the playoffs.
I agree. Which is funny because my immediate knee-jerk reaction was to be like, well, they're in a bit of a race with the Knicks, so they might actually have to, I wouldn't say sacrifice health, but they'll have to prioritize. They'll have to pick. They'll have to be like, okay, like we don't care about the seeding, or we would like to have home court as long as we can, so we're going to try and win out. Not to say I think that playing games 81 and 82 with regular personnel is inherently risky, though 81 is the second night of a back-to-back, so that's something to monitor. I guess like I wouldn't expect to see a ton of guys in that Pelicans game as they come back home after playing New York on the 9th. Plus, that April 9th game might just tell us all we need to know about that race now that I think about it. But health, of course, is important. I think they've been very fortunate this year with the way that they've just had their, the dominoes have fallen where it's just like, oh, well, everybody's been healthy enough to play. Nobody's missed a big chunk of time. Like guys miss here and there, but the majority of the team has been available whenever they've been needed. And those guys have been ready when their numbers are called. So even if they do have sporadic misses, like maybe Derek gets a night off, Jaylen gets a night off, they've been pretty good in the days where there are pieces missing. And I just think that's just the way the Celtics operate under this current regime with the coaching staff, with the development team and all that, where everybody is prepared for what is coming their way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much they care about seeding. I think they would like to have home court advantage for as long as possible. But if they had to choose a healthy team or the 2 seed in the playoffs, I think they would choose health. But what's your second thing? I'll bounce back to you.
I would like anybody to make threes over these. Like let's get the 3-point shooting back up and running, fellas, huh? Over the last 10 games, any Celtic who has shot 3 or more 3-pointers a game, 28.6, 42.5, 33.8, 32.4, 30.3, 29.4 are the shooting percentage of those guys who have done it, which is the top 6 3-point attempts guys. The only guy that's shooting above 40% is Baylor Shireman, who's at 42.5% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. Just need more consistency from the guys who are getting a lot of them. It hasn't cost the Celtics. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're still playing, 70% win ball. Not bad. But if they were making more of their threes, they would probably be having an easier time winning some of these games. You wouldn't have seen a dogfight against the Memphis Grizzlies last night where Memphis just sat everybody or everybody was injured for Memphis and they still pushed the Celtics to the brink for parts of that game. Just getting their feet back underneath them. Also, Jason Tatum almost 10 threes a game since returning. 9.7.
Mm-hmm. 70% win ball being not bad is hilarious. Like 7-3.
It could be better.
57 win pace for a season. Like, what can you, like, what are you going to say? You're muted. You muted yourself before you started.
I love when I do that. Imagine how deadly they would be when they were actually, if they're making, like, let's just say their top 6 guys are making 35% instead of closer to 30. That's probably an extra win or two that's mixed in there. Seriously, like, okay, they lost to OKC in San Antonio. I do not off the top of my head remember how well they shot against OKC. From what I remember, it was pretty good. But yeah, seeing the 3-pointers go in as the Celtics start to approach playoff basketball, where teams
31%.
may. Okay, so not good. Great. I can make a point on it. They might have won that game had they made, well, if they had made just one more three, it would have got them across the finish line, as the Peyton Pritchard shot didn't find the bottom of the net.
Theoretically, yeah.
When the playoffs roll around, you're going to see defenses choose whether they want to let their best defender die guarding Jaylen or Jason or Peyton, or if they want to send help and force the Celtics to beat them by making threes. Not to say that the Celtics will not make open threes if they're gifted those opportunities, but if they get Sam Hauser going, who's only shot 34% from 3 on 7 attempts a game over the last 10 games, he's been through a cold stretch lately. Peyton Pritchard only at 32.4 on 7.6, like Derek only 8.4. I mean, not 8.4, 30.3 on 8.4 attempts a game. Like, those guys that are elevated just a little bit here, and the Celtics will be really rolling, I feel.
Yeah, I mean the threes have to go in. How about they just got to keep creating them, and we'll see. But next thing I'm looking at is the big man rotation. I know we got the update that Vooch could be back, should be playing the last couple games of the season. I'm curious to know how they play it. Curious to see how they end up playing it, because Garza's been really good. So I wonder if they go right back to Vooch and cut Garza completely. I wonder if it's a game-to-game thing. I wonder if they play all three. I don't know. It's a little weird because you almost can't take Garza out of the rotation right now. But then again, that's what we said when they traded for Vooch in the first place, and then they did. So I don't know. I don't know how it'll be. This isn't really like this is what I want or this is what I expect. It's more of I'm curious to see how they play things when Vooch gets back right before the playoffs.
Yeah, what I was leaning going that route when I had my next pick. I just want to see Vucevic get a chance to get his feet back under him before the playoffs. I want him to get an opportunity to develop a little bit of a chemistry with Jason Tatum to see how that partnership will work. It was one of the things we were all most excited about when the news broke of the initial trade. It was like, does this mean Jason Tatum's coming back? Are they planning to optimize the roster for the way that Jason will play, the way he operates as the ball handler in the pick and roll, pick and pop, and how many behind the back bounce passes we've seen him sling to Al Horford over the last several seasons? He could be doing the same thing for Vucevic and really getting him great open looks at the top of the key. We didn't get to see it. Vucevic broke the ring finger in the Tatum debut game. There was maybe 2 minutes they shared the court together before Vucevic went out. So getting a good look at that partnership is important to me. Luka Garza, though, he continues to just be awesome and will do whatever he is asked to do when he's in the game, does have his weak points. He's not necessarily the type of guy that you can feel won't get played off the court in a playoff game. Like, if a team wants to take him out of a game, if they feel like he is too impactful on the offensive glass, creating extra possessions for Boston, if he's too effective as a floor spacer, those kind of things, they could just go at him as much as they want in the pick and roll and see what they can get out of it. And a good team, like if they end up playing the Knicks, like I don't feel great about Garza having to be guarding Brunson downhill or, recovering to get back to Cat in a pick and roll situation, or keeping Mitchell Robinson off the defensive or offensive glass, right? Like, those guys would probably have a field day against him. Doesn't mean Vucevic is the all defensive level center that would solve that problem, but he's a little bit more mobile than Garza is. I think there is a space for both of them. I think having all three big men ready to go when the playoffs roll around is going to be essential to a deep playoff run. I think any one of them can help you win a playoff game. Last night against Memphis was a prime example of how Garza can help you win a game. He literally took over for a stretch in the fourth quarter where he was making shots, creating offensive rebounds. Like, he is the perfect bench spark plug type big, and having him feeling good going to the playoffs is important. But of course, if you feel like Vucevic is the more stable option, you're going to go with him. You just need to get his legs and his game speed back up before it's game one of the first round, because you could end up playing against any of these teams that are hot right now, and that's not the situation that you want to gamble with.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be a matchup dependent thing. If you need offensive rebounding, go to Garza. If you need an extra offensive initiator, go to Vucevic, and then go from there. But I think Nimi will play most in the playoffs anyway. So All right, Sam, last thing. I'll let you go.
Last thing, just looking to see what kind of rotation Joe leans into. I'm looking at the last 10 game sample size. Right now, you've got Jalen, Derek, Peyton, Jason, Baylor, Nemi, Sam Hauser, Luka Garza in the top 8, with Ugo just outside at 16.6 minutes a game. As you mentioned, Vucevic coming back will shake that up. Just to see what, like, okay, you're looking at a game like Wednesday against OKC or April 9th against the Knicks, if it still means something. What kind of rotation is Joe running with? Who does he seem to trust? Is he going to go away from Ugo, who's a rookie? And I wouldn't even necessarily call him unproven because he's played professionally in Spain. Like, he probably has more calmness and just experience than the average rookie does, but he's still a rookie in the NBA. He still has clear rookie moments when he plays. Is he going to be falling out in those bigger moments, or is he going to just completely lean into the matchups? Because that is something we've seen from Joe a lot this season. The group of Ugo, Baylor for a lot of the time, then Jordan Walsh were all kind of splitting minutes with Josh Minot when he was still here. And then now that Josh is gone, it's kind of ironed itself out a little bit more. I know I've seen some people online clamoring for Baylor to move back into the starting lineup over Sam Hauser, so I guess you could kind of monitor that situation too. But I feel like the way that Baylor's been playing, he almost fits more as an energy guy off the bench. It's going to create more opportunities for you and change the game when he comes in, rather than somebody who's going to be a supplementary offensive piece and just being out there to guard guys in the starting lineup. I just think Hauser might be the better fit there. But yeah, just seeing what Joe seems to lean into over the next 2-3 weeks in the big spots in particular is going to be something to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think to a degree. I mean, my last thing was going to be nothing because I don't think Joe's going to give away his cards. I think the last thing he wants to do is give. I mean, you see how he treats the media and everything. He doesn't want to give anything up, right? The last thing he wants is a opposing coach to be able to watch a press conference and hear him say, "Oh yeah, we're going to run this team, we're going to run this starting lineup, we're going to run these schemes," and then game plan against that. So as you look down the stretch of the season and into the playoffs, if he is starting to practice new plays or practice rotation changes or practice, different things that are specific to what he wants to run in the playoffs, it's basically just saying, here's my play sheet, right? And obviously, you're going to practice some things, you're going to test some things out. Like they went to the Tatum at center lineup a little bit a couple games ago, but I think overall, you're not going to see a lot of swaying from the norm for Joe because you're going to want to unveil most of it in a playoff scenario, at least in my opinion. So I'm looking for nothing.
That's a great point. Joe definitely is not going to tip his cap, or tip his hand rather, and show teams what he's planning to do in the playoffs. I think you did a great job of just erasing that last point that I brought up, which is, I mean, I didn't even think about it that way. Yeah, he's definitely not going to reveal anything. I do think there will be some stuff that the team as a unit is trying to figure out. Like he's just trying to figure out how, like let's say Vucevic comes back, how he works with this guy, this lineup, whatever. But I don't think you're going to see any defenses or, things that he's been kind of holding in the utility belt all season long that he wanted to save for a playoff situation for sure.
Yeah, stuff like that. But before we continue, I want to tell you guys about PrizePicks. PrizePicks, the best place to get real money sports action this basketball season, this baseball season as it does come up, and whatever season you are looking for, you can check it out on PrizePicks. The playoff push is heating up and tournament hoops are here, and there's no better way to cash in if you're right on the high-flying hoops action than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Every bucket, every dime, and every win means more when you're playing on PrizePicks. And with their brand new teams, picks, markets, you can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks you already know. So cash in if you're right during all the clutch buckets, slam dunks, and Cinderellas this spring with team picks on PrizePicks. You can pick the winner straight up on PrizePicks, who's going to win the next big basketball game, who's going to win the next fight. Back your takes with real money on PrizePicks. You can even pick who's going to cut down the nets in a couple weeks or who's going to win a ring this summer, whether it's the tournament or the playoffs. You can call your shot and cash in if you make the right picks, all on PrizePicks. Team Picks, the new feature, is now available in 35 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Washington, and more. And PrizePicks as a whole is available in all 50, so you can check it out there. Makes it super easy to pick game winners, spreads, and totals all on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on, and get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup when you use code CLNS. That's code CLNS to get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. But yes, back to Celtics. A little bit of a reflection here as we wrap the season up. Jaylen Brown's season is almost over. Right now, as we're recording this podcast, he is averaging 28.5 points, 7 rebounds, 5.2 assists, shooting 48 from the field, 34 from 3, 80 from the line, taking 7.3 free throws a game. Career high in attempts and percentage for Jaylen. He's an all-star. He is, pretty much a lock for All-NBA, probably first team, although there is a case for a couple guys over him, so it could be second team, but All-NBA nonetheless. And it's been quite the year for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, last night Snap Muse put it out that he's had more 30-point games than Isaiah Thomas did in the 2017 season where he was playing out of his mind. So that's a pretty remarkable thing to look back at when you think about it. I think the NBA was a little different back then where teams are scoring fewer points, so it was less common to see 30-point games. Like, I feel like there were definitely less players that season averaging 30. It just wasn't a thing that people did. But I don't think that's something to sneeze at. Like, Jaylen has 32 30-point games. The only person ever in Celtics history that he trails now for most in a single season is Jason Tatum, who had 42. And one thing that's been sneaky better is his free throw shooting. I saw Greeny was on this last night. He shot 92% or something over his last 65 attempts. On the season, Jaylen Brown, I'm going to double check it, but I'm almost certain he's up to 80%, which
80%.
As we know, having watched him for the last 10 years is, whoa, I can't believe this. This is insane development. Yeah, 5.8 makes on 7.3 attempts. Pretty good. I mean, he's trended upward the last couple seasons. Like, he was at 70% in the title year, and they went up to 76% last year. So 80% this year isn't that crazy of a jump, but for him to get to 80% for somebody all career, we're all like, whoa, this guy can't really shoot free throws the way we would expect. Pretty cool development, but he's been really playing some inspired basketball lately too. Like, just for perspective, in the last 10 games, he's averaging 25, 6, and 6. He's playing a really well-rounded game. Since the All-Star break, his assists and rebounds are both up. I know they were creeping up towards 8 and 7, respectively, the last several weeks. So he's really kind of leaned into the making everybody better and taking what the defense gives him, even though the points are down. That's an interesting development too, kind of to tie it into the first discussion we had. As the playoffs come, how is he going to take on the way defenses attack him? Is he going to try and go through it? Is he going to go around it? Meaning, like, just, okay, I'll defer to my teammates because our team has so many different people that can score on it. Yeah, since the break, 7.6 rebounds, 6.9 assists with 25.8 points a game. So definitely a well-rounded output from Jaylen.
Yeah, it's been crazy to see what he's been able to accomplish this season. I mean, I think a part of me knew he was going to play well this year. I don't know if I necessarily knew he was going to play this well. It's just the way he's been scoring the basketball. Like, the Celtics, he said it in, I think it was a shoot around in Atlanta, like, part of the offensive philosophy this year was just get buckets how you can, and he kind of took that and ran with it. And instead of, okay, let's take these threes here, let's take these here, let's, these layups and threes, and that's it. It's been kind of like, all right, Jaylen, if you can get a bucket in the mid-range, go do it. And he's been doing it, and it's worked really well because he has been so efficient from the mid-range, or at least he was for the first half of the year. It's kind of tailed off a little bit in the second half of the season, but his scoring has just been at another level this year. And without it, the Celtics really wouldn't be in the position they're in, or close to it, probably. So you give Jaylen a ton of credit for the way he's carried the load this season, for the way he's carried himself, for the way he's carried the offense and contributed in multiple, aspects of the game. So it's been really cool to watch.
Taking care of his health.
Taking care of his health too, as much as possible. But yeah. We can go to the email. I thought you were going to say something. All right. I remind as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. We have two today, both from the same person. And it's not RJ today. It is Chris Chang. He sent us 2 emails, 1 email, and then a follow-up so we can check it out here. Chris Chang says, gap year turning into probable finals berth and potential championship season. Hi, Jack and Sam. Hope y'all doing well. Longtime listener here from Taiwan. First time emailing, which feels fitting given the incredible season we're having. What was supposed to be a, quote, gap year after Tatum's Achilles injury plus Al Holiday and Porzingis moving on has turned into something way more impressive than most preseason takes expected. All the credit in the world to Brad and Joe for keeping the structure intact, the young role players making big jumps, JB stepping into a bigger leadership role, and JT grinding through rehab to make this surreal return timeline possible. With the C's really starting to come together and only a few weeks left in the regular season, I've been playing around with the championship probability model that separates finals path difficulty from finals matchup strength. Unsurprisingly, Boston ends up right near the top. Excuse me, second to only OKC. Here's what it currently spits out. Thunder, 38.9% finals berth, 52.9% finals win equals 20.6% title odds. Celtics, 39% finals berth, 48.5% finals win, 18.9% title odds. Nuggets at 13.7% title odds. Cavs at 12.2% title odds. And Spurs at 11.7% title odds. The main assumption for Boston is roughly an 85 to 90% version of Tatum by the playoffs, which still keeps us firmly in the contender tier. Curious what your takes are. Do you see the Celtics as the clear favorite to come out of the East? Which team do you view as the biggest threat in the conference? And if they reach the finals, which potential opponent worries you the most? Also wondering if there's a team outside this list that deserves more respect. Example, the Magic, who left us pretty banged up after that brutal first-round series last year. Love the show. Keep up the awesome work. Best regards, Chris. Thanks, Chris.
Chris.
I think the Celtics should be one of the favorites to come out of the East with the experience and everything. I think the Pistons are probably the biggest contender to them in the Eastern Conference, but you always have the what's going to happen to their offense in the playoffs. You know, do they have the experience? Like, there are arguments there. And then as far as getting to the finals, I mean, I think it's just the Thunder, right? You respect the Spurs, what they've done, and the Nuggets, but the Thunder are the reigning champs and have been insane all year. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, like, unfortunately, the path is the important thing. Like, Boston's gonna have to worry about New York and Detroit if they're gonna get to the finals. Like, with the 1 seed potentially being in the balance, over the last couple of days where like Cade just got hurt. What if they make a run at it? Like, Detroit's 2-0 in the 2 games that they played without Cade.
I told you.
Well, you predicted losses when we did it, but
I told you they were going to be winning.
You did say that they're not going to fall off a cliff.
Dennis Jenkins just had 22, 7, and 8. I don't want to hear it. I told you exactly what was going to happen.
Shout out to them. But so it's unlikely that they're going to overtake Detroit for the 1 seed. There's just starting to become too few games for that to be a realistic option for them. So it's really looking like it's going to be whatever team they play in the first round, which, they may benefit from not being the 1 seed. They may avoid Charlotte, who's probably the scariest play-in team. But again, we're going to look at the standings in a minute. Like, there's so many teams now that are just waking up because the playoffs are soon. But then it's New York, who beat you last year. No matter how you feel about it, like, that's just what happened. That's a team that's built deliberately to beat the Celtics. And then you would have to play Detroit in the conference finals. So it's going to be a tough path to get there. And neither one of those teams being listed here is it answers the team that deserves more respect. Even though I hate the Knicks with all of my being, they should be factored into that.
Yeah, Knicks and the Pistons, I think, should be in here. But excuse me. Thank you, Chris. He did send a follow-up to this, so I'll read it. Following up, updated model in the Caesar for real. Hi, Jack and Sam. Hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to follow up in the email I sent a few days back. I've kept iterating on the model since then, factoring in seeding likelihoods, playoff path dependencies, and opponent distributions round by round. And honestly, if anything, it's made our potential path looking more real. We not only hold up analytically, but structurally have one of the cleanest paths in the East. Credit to everyone. Credit again to everyone on the team. It really shows up when you start modeling this stuff more deeply. Here's the updated snapshot. Thunder, 22% title odds. Celtics, 19%. Spurs, 14%. Cavs, 12%. Knicks, 10%. Nuggets, 9%. Pistons, 8%. Wolves, 4%. Other teams in the West and East, around 3%. Biggest shifts before: Spurs most likely land the 2 seed, which really boosts their path. Denver drops a bit, not because they're worse, but because their path is brutal. Knicks and Cavs basically a toss-up in seeding, which evens out that tier. For us, the assumption is still 85 to 90% ish of Tatum. But what's changed is how stable and versatile we look. There's no obvious weakness or matchup where we'd be a disadvantage, which isn't something you can say for the rest of the East. Quick one-line verdicts based on how the model is seeing each team. Thunder, proven champ with the cleanest path, slight favorite in every key series. Celtics, most stable East path, ceiling tied to Tatum's recovery, but no clear matchup weakness. Spurs, true swing team. If they get through OKC, they're essentially a coin flip to win it all. Cavaliers, strong balanced contender, but unclear how their perimeter defense holds up if they run into us. Knicks, playoff built roster, path dependent since Pistons seem to have their number. Dangerous mainly if seeding breaks right. Nuggets are arguably the toughest opponent if they make it, but they face the hardest road to get there. Likely needing to go through both Spurs and OKC. Pistons benefiting from seeding, but vulnerable once facing top tier contenders due to lack of offensive creation. Wolves legit dark horse, however, they could lose significant ground with Ant status still up in the air. Other disruption potential only structurally unlikely to survive 4 rounds. This includes the likes of Lakers, Magic, etc. Curious where you guys land on this now. Do you guys see see us as a clear team to beat in the East? Or is there a case made between the Pistons, Knicks, and Cavs? Which East matchup do you think is actually the most dangerous for the Celtics in a 7-game series? And coming out of the West, who would you least want to see, OKC, Spurs, or Denver if they survive the gauntlet? Would love to hear your thoughts. Appreciate everything you do. This show has been a constant. Best regards, Chris. Thanks, Chris. And yeah, I think OKC is still who I think they should want to see less. The Pistons are still the biggest threat in a 7-game series. But I mean, I think these are interesting things. And I think the thing we haven't considered is the Knicks aren't guaranteed to keep the 3 seed. Like, it seems guaranteed, but 2.5 games up. So, like, if we're talking about the Celtics being in danger of losing the 2 seed when it's a 1-game difference between that and the gap between 3 and 4, I think both are. I don't maybe not necessarily like fully on the table, but at the very least within striking distance.
Yeah, I just pulled up the schedules for both those teams remaining. Cleveland has New Orleans, Orlando, Miami twice, Utah, Lakers, Warriors, Pacers, Memphis, Atlanta twice, Washington. The Knicks have Washington, New Orleans, Charlotte, OKC, Houston, Memphis, Chicago, Atlanta, Boston, Toronto, Charlotte. So I guess the Knicks have more teams in there that are trying. Like they don't have the benefit of seeing, the Pacers and the Jazz and New Orleans, Golden State, Washington, the last game of the season. But I would say the 2 schedules are like equally difficult. I think there are winnable games for both of those teams, losable games. I don't know if I see Cleveland necessarily climbing past New York, but you never know, right? Like, I also just don't really buy Cleveland. Like, they don't have the players to me to be a scary playoff team. It doesn't mean that they can't climb up the standings in the last couple of weeks here. It's very possible. There's also a layer to this where the middle of the conference, I guess we can just move into the standings now because that's basically what we'll chat about anyways.
Yeah.
But the middle of the conference is very susceptible to be shaken up. 5 through 9 are separated by 1.5 games right now. Philly is 2 games behind Toronto in the loss column for 5th. That is an insane, very Western Conference like from last year. Remember, all of those teams were like neck and neck through the last 10 games of the season. The Clippers-Warriors game on the final day was essentially a playoff game or a play-in game because one of the teams got a higher playoff odd in that respect. But yeah, it's going to be a very fun last couple of weeks. I mean, shit, if we're talking about Cleveland being able to catch New York, we have to talk about Charlotte being able to catch Orlando for 6th or even potentially move up to 5th.
Yeah.
Because they're only 3.5 back. Like, Toronto's been struggling lately. They're 5-5 in their last 10. It's very reasonable. I mean, it's going to be harder for Charlotte to do it because they have to actually climb over teams, especially with Atlanta having been hot. Miami's lost 3 in a row now, so maybe they've cooled off a little bit more than I was thinking about going into the top of this show. But the top of the East is hot. Everybody's winning all the games. Cleveland, Detroit. Cleveland, New York, Detroit, Boston have combined to win 14 straight games between the 4 of them. That's not nothing. Pretty impressive from those guys, but it's going to be an absolute dogfight. And we all need to be rooting against the Milwaukee Bucks to just plummet, get that second round pick as high up as we can, as Nick NBA was talking about with us on the pregame yesterday.
Yeah, it can only fall so far, but we'll have to wait and see how far it does fall. But yeah, Pistons still atop the East, 4 games ahead of the Celtics. Celtics who are 1.5 games ahead of the Knicks. The Cavs in 4th, Raptors, Magic in 5th and 6th. And you got the Hawks, Heat, Sixers, Hornets in the play-in. Bucks, Bulls, Nets, Wizards, Pacers rounding up. Wizards and Pacers who have lost a combined 29 games in a row. If you add the Nets, it is 35 games in a row. Crazy losing streaks going on at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. But yeah, that middle of the pack, the play-in the East is going to be crazy in terms of seeding the entire East. The entire standings landscape could look different in 12 games. So anything can happen truly. And it's kind of going to be a mad dash to see who ends up where by the time the season does wrap up. So we'll see. The Hawks, Heat, and Sixers are all literally tied with the same record at 38 and 32. And then the Magic are in the 6th seed at 38 and 31, just one loss fewer in the loss column. So who knows? Any of them could end up anywhere. The Celtics' path could look different tomorrow than it does a week from now, and different. There's no certainty. It's impossible to know what the Celtics' path is going to be right now.
Yeah, you really can never know, and that's kind of like what makes every year. I feel like we have this conversation because the Celtics are always at the top, right? Like the play-in rolls around, it's like, man, I just wish I knew who they were playing. This isn't fair to them. They might have to play, whatever team has been made out to be the nobody wants to play them team in the first round, and it usually goes okay for them. But it is one of the oddities, and especially thinking about Jack in the gang who will be traveling for that first away weekend. I will not be on the road for that one. Hopefully later in the playoffs, I'll be back out. But being like, man, where am I going to be? Am I going to be in Charlotte, Philly, Miami, Atlanta, Orlando, or Toronto? It could be any of them.
There's no way to know. It's impossible to know. But we'll wait and see. As far as the Western Conference, OKC still atop the West, 3 games ahead of the Spurs, who are 7 games ahead of the Lakers in 3rd. Then you've got the Rockets, Nuggets, and Timberwolves rounding out the top 6. Suns, Blazers, Clippers, Warriors in the play-in, and then Pelicans, Grizzlies, Mavericks with the Jazz and the Kings at the bottom of the conference. Things are still close in the West too. The 4, 5, 6 are all 12.5 games back. Anything can happen there with the Rockets, Nuggets, and Timberwolves. The Suns seem to have dipped off. They're 3.5 games back of the Timberwolves. So not impossible, but it's going to be tough for them to catch up there. And then the play-in could shake up a little bit. The Suns have a little gap for the 7th seed. They seem to be hosting that first play-in game right now. But the Blazers, Clippers, and Warriors are within a game and a half of each other. So that could flip up too. And technically the Spurs could still catch the Thunder, but the Thunder have won 10 games in a row. So I don't think they're going anywhere.
I think the Thunder are finished. I'll say it. I'll go out on a limb and say I think the Thunder are done. They're going to get caught by the Spurs. The top of the West is a bloodbath. I do have the Lakers on our sheet as like its own little section, so I guess we can talk about them when it comes. But yeah, the West has been weird. Denver, I don't know what's going on with them. They've been very mediocre for the past several months. They've had injuries. When everyone's been back, they still haven't looked great. Houston continues to have ups and downs as if they're the 2019 Celtics, which scares me for them going forward. And then Minnesota's going to be without Ant here for a little bit, so they could even slip down to the play-in. It would take a little bit. 3.5 game difference is a decent hill to cross for Phoenix. But yeah, Warriors and Clippers, especially the Warriors, really struggling lately. Jeez, 2-8 in their last 10. Disgusting, gross team. The fact that the Pelicans aren't dead yet is wild. The Pelicans were scraping the bottom of the Western Conference for the entire season. And now they're not going to make the play-in because they're just mathematically not eliminated. But we were talking about this when we did the Tankathon on the pregame stream ahead of the Memphis game. They have completely smoked their lottery odds for those that care. But they don't even have the pick, so it doesn't matter.
They don't care at all.
The Hawks are devastated. They actually have no reason to tank. I apologize for those of you that just think I smushed my NBA credit by not remembering the Derek Queen trade for that half second.
Speaking of Derek Queen, let me see how he's doing. I wonder, is he the one screwing the Hawks over for trading him? Because I think he has a little chip on his shoulder for that trade too, because everyone called it shit. And I remember he tweeted out the date of the Pelicans Hawks game.
I think he was very mediocre in that game, and they lost.
And he's not even playing that well lately. How the hell are they winning then? Who's playing well lately? Who's doing this for the Pelicans right now? Let me take a look. Pelicans' last 10 games, they're 6-4. It's Trey Murphy and DeJounte Murray. It's DeJounte Murray. He's been back.
He's been
Zion's been
cooking.
healthy too. Credit to Zion for playing a lot this season. That's kind of flown under the radar because the Pelicans haven't been very good. But yeah, Trey Murphy's averaging 21, 6-4 in his last 10 games. DeJounte Murray's averaging 21, 6-6. Zion's at 25-2. Sadiq Bey has been great this season. Fears has been good. They're just putting it together. Credit to them. They're finally getting healthy, which is good for them. So we'll see where they are next year. We have this conversation every season. But moving into the NBA section, the Lakers are really, really good. And Luka has been ridiculous. He's had a 50-point game. He's had a 60-point game. They've won 8 in a row, I think, climbing up to the 3 seed in the Western Conference with a 2.5 game gap on the Rockets in 4th. It's they're definitely getting hot at the right time. So
I fucking hate the Lakers. The national media is the biggest winner in this because they can legitimately go on like First Take, Get Up, and be like, watch out for the Lakers. Like, we are in March. It is the prime time for the national shows to tell you that the Lakers are going to be a contender. And to much of our like downfall, it actually looks like they could be. They've won 11 of 12. Luka's been going crazy. He's got 30 plus in 7 straight games. Jack mentioned the big scoring outputs he's had. And they just continue to win games. Like, they were in Miami the other day. He had 60. And that was the day that I saw the Lakers beat, tweeting that the Lakers didn't even get off the plane until 5:30 in the morning that day. And they were on a back-to-back. Like, just it was just a scheduled loss. Like, think about when we were in the press conference room when the Celtics got stomped by the Rockets back in November, and it was their 5th game in 7 nights. Like, Joe essentially told everybody it was a scheduled loss. And not only did they win that game, I'm almost certain that the Lakers came back from a deficit in that game. They're really learning how to play together. We've all been joking with Turpin on the beat because he's a big LeBron fan that like JJ came out and was like, yeah, LeBron is the third option on this team. Like, but LeBron is fine with that, and taking on that role has seemingly made them better. I don't know if I feel fearful that they'll get out of the West because I think the other 2 teams at the top are so good that I'm not really moved by any of this. And I still think Luka's a loser. Like, he just has so many losing tendencies. Like, he can score all these big point totals all he wants, but like, is he going to sit and cry on the floor as his man runs a fast break? Like, is he going to lock in on defense? Like, there are so many question marks with his defensive liability stuff where it doesn't make me feel great about them in a playoff situation, but they definitely look better than they've looked all season. They have their point differential up to 1.5, which is pretty good considering it was like even for the majority of these games. So Lakers, watch out for the Lakers.
Luka's Luka, man. He's going to be a threat in the playoffs no matter how terrible on defense he is. I mean, shit, he literally carried a team to a finals because of how insane his offensive game is. So we'll see what that translates to with this Lakers team. They've got quite the gauntlet to run through before they actually make any noise in the playoffs. But for as bad as a defender as he is, if you have Luka, you have a chance to win a basketball game. So I'll give him that credit. And we'll see what happens from there. Giannis, some new news coming out about him. Eric Neem of The Athletic saying the Bucks, per league sources, have made it clear to their franchise centerpiece it would be their shared interest for him to sit out. While injuries have forced Giannis to miss 32 games already this season, league sources tell The Athletic that the 10-time All-Star has informed the team he has no desire to cut his season short. From Ramona Shelburne as well, Wes Edens, the co-owner of the Bucks, and Jimmy Haslam, the 2 co-owners. Edens said Giannis is going into last year of his contract. So one of 2 things will happen. Either he'll be extended or he'll be traded. So we're going to get some finalized news. The bigger piece of this to me is just he wants to play and the team doesn't want him to play. I get why the team doesn't want him to play. I get why he wants to play. And I don't really know or care what happens after that because they're literally irrelevant this season.
You have to have a hot take, Jack. That's the rule. Pick a side. Are you team Giannis or you team Bucks?
I don't care. I don't give a fuck. This is the stupidest storyline. I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. It's dumb. If I had to pick
go ahead.
If I'm the team, I want him to sit. If I'm him, I want to play. That's it. Like I have both sides. Like that's the whole thing.
Giannis is just his own worst enemy in all of this, I feel. I understand wanting to play. I don't necessarily blame him for that, right? But this is a guy who's done the meme of the guy that's like pretending he's going to jump off the balcony or drink the bleach like over and over again in terms of like requesting a trade away from Milwaukee. And the front office feels the pressure to go out and make these high leverage moves, whether it was the initial Dame trade, which
As they should.
like I think they should have urgency to try and win, right? But if you want to go and pressure the front office to make moves, then you have to understand when there is a larger move at stake with like not playing games. Like, okay, if we want to tank and get draft capital, like which they actually do they have their own pick this year? I think they do, or at least they have the right to swap. So the worse that their pick is, the better for them in the long run. If you're losing games and getting better odds at a high pick, then Giannis is getting better odds of having more help if he's going to stick around. Like there's nothing for them to play for. They are 7.5 games out of the play-in. I understand wanting to play. Like I don't fault him for that. I think we talk too much about guys that sit out, to really criticize that. But he just does too many things on both sides of the road where I'm getting so sick and tired of it. It's either you want to leave, which in today's NBA is like far more acceptable than it used to be. Like if you're requesting a trade, the team is at least getting something back for you in return. Like they're not getting blindsided by leaving in free agency. Like it doesn't completely rock the foundation of a franchise if they get a huge draft pick haul in return, right? But if you want to stay, like that's cool too. Like I love loyal players. I love when a guy's on a team for a long time, but you have to be understanding of what that entails. Like I don't know what he had to do, if anything, with the Miles Turner deal this summer where they waive and stretch Dame, which could have been completely unrelated to him in terms of involvement, but it was certainly inspired by him. Like they're nervous. They're like, man, we have to do something. And by doing that, they've created this weird situation with that contract and the Dame $20 million a year that they have in dead cap because they waive and stretched him. The draft is, if they can get a guy in the draft, is the only way to start to get better pieces around Giannis so he's not playing with a skeleton crew every time. And he needs to understand that if he's truly interested in being there. If he's not, then that's another story. But if you want to like be the nice guy and you want to be committed to the team, you need to at least have conversations with the front office to understand what the plan is, I should say. If you don't want to sit out and you don't want to be okay with sitting out, that's a different story. But like, if you want to be in on it, you have to be in on it. You can't only be in on it when it's making big swings for, a new point guard like Dame to run the pick and roll with. Like it's just a weird, it's long. It's gone too long. Essentially this has needed to be done for years. Now it's just getting ugly and boring and people are over it and souring on Giannis.
I'm not souring on Giannis. I don't give a fuck. I don't care
Well,
at all.
it's not necessarily you, but like I'm kind of soured on him. I think Nick has said he's soured on him. Like
I think
there are
you
people that are
sour
so
on anything
sick
that's
of
in the news for too long. You sour at anybody
this.
who's just
Yeah,
in the
I feel like
news.
there are people like me though. Like there's a fair amount of people that get sick and tired of this kind of saga.
I don't know, man.
This is not the standard Sam hates everything. Like this isn't like everybody's enjoying this, so I'm going to go against the grain. Like that's not what this is.
He wants to stay in Milwaukee, but Milwaukee's doing a dog shit job of building a team since they won the title. And for what it's worth, not to discredit, because I think every title is hard, they had a fucking cupcake route to that championship. Let's be real. Like I'm not gonna, like I said, every title is a title, and you have to go through 4 rounds, and it's impressive. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a little context to everything that's important here in the longevity of success in the NBA. I'm never going to criticize a player for wanting to play. Like the entire NBA world shits on teams relentlessly, complains about tanking, complains about teams, backing out and stars not wanting to play. And now magically when this guy doesn't want to play, it's like, oh, you don't want to do what's best for the team. That's dumb as fuck. I think that's stupid. I think it's hypocritical to do that. So I'm not going to do that. If he wants to play, I get it. He wants to play. He's paid millions and millions of dollars to play professional basketball. And now the Bucks can't sit him out really because he's an all-star. He's got to play. If he is publicly saying I want to play, they can't claim he's hurt. Like, what are they going to do? Like, they can't rest him. That's literally not allowed. So he's going to play probably. And for what it's worth, they want to sit him for 12 games to maybe improve their lottery odds by like 2 spaces. Grow up. You should have committed to the tank at the start of the year in that case. So it's the Bucks' fault, really. Like, if we're gonna blame Giannis for not being committed, like the Bucks have been a mid team all season because they failed to build a team around Giannis. That's their own fault. Let's not blame Giannis when it's the Bucks organizational mismanagement.
Yes and no. I think there was just bad injury luck the last couple of years. Like Giannis got hurt in the 23 season, so they panicked
I'm talking about
and traded
this season.
for Dame. Well, we got to this season because 2 years ago, I think they both got hurt in the first round when they lost to the Pacers, and then last year they definitely both got hurt in the first round.
And then they panicked.
Lost to the Pacers, and then they panicked,
and they made bad moves.
So they panicked a bunch of times, but the panic is partly because he's like, I don't know if I want to be here. Like everybody has a role in this. He's not absent from blame.
He's not absent from blame, but the blame is stop being fucking stupid. Or
the front office needs to be better. They need to make better decisions in stressful situations.
If the Celtics had Jason Tatum this long, and like I said, Giannis has won a championship, so we got something done. But if they had that team around Jason Tatum, would we be sitting here blaming Jason Tatum for pressuring the front office to be better? If this was the roster they put, no, because it's shit, and they've done a really bad job of figuring it out. And they made a big panic Dame trade, and at the time it was like, all right, but like it was a 32-year-old guy who doesn't really play defense, and you're trading your entire future, and now you wave and stretch that guy. You didn't get a replacement at point guard. You didn't really fill up the depth. You got a center who could work, but doesn't really work if you don't have the structure around. Like. They made bad move after bad move. They came into the season with a dog shit team, and now you go through that entire process, all the drama with Giannis, and now you're saying, "Oh yeah, can you sit?" If I'm Giannis, I'm pissed. I'm more pissed than he is. Like I'm more angry. So I credit him for being not even more mad because this has been a ridiculous season in Milwaukee. So that's my feeling. Like I think the Bucks have wholly and completely fucked themselves. And if I'm Giannis, I would have left a long time ago, but he clearly loves the city and loves his home. So he really wants it to work there.
Yeah, and I mean, you could pull the tapes from this show. At the time, I didn't think trading for Dame for anybody, especially the Celtics, because that's the angle we were talking about it from, made a lot of sense. Thought his contract was bad. Thought it would make it hard to put more players around whatever team they were putting together. It just didn't make sense for an older point guard who was owed an extension that kicked in that they eventually had to waive. It was just a difficult piece to add if you didn't already have a complete puzzle at the time. And so Milwaukee went out and did it. It played out poorly, injury riddled, like they got hurt. But at the same time, you're trading for an aging guard who relies on athleticism a little bit for part of his game. He can shoot the shit out the ball too, as we all saw when he won the 3-point contest on his refurbished Achilles this year. But he is not a very big player. He's not a great defender, and it's not overly shocking that he had injury struggles while he was with the Bucks, and they mortgaged their future on that, and now they're kind of paying the dividends. That is the factual, like, linear story to how we got to this point. The motivations for why they did those things are a different story, but everybody has a hand in this. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. The front office just made poor decisions when met with the opportunity to do something.
Yeah, but it is what it is. All right, Rat List, go ahead.
Rat List is people who don't think that they need to have their dogs on a leash when they take them for a walk. I've been running outside again over the last couple weeks because it's finally melted all the snow here pretty much since that big, huge storm at the end of February. We've finally gotten some nice weather. It's done enough to get the snow off the road so I can go for runs in Providence again. Is it like a flex to dog owners that they don't need to have their dog on a leash? Like, I don't really care if your dog is trained or not. Like, this is a rat list that I'm saying without having been attacked by any of these dogs. But I don't like to have to see you with your dog like hundreds of feet up ahead of me on the path and be like, okay, like I have to like have it in the back of my head that I might have to take off and run if your dog gets triggered by anything because it's not on a leash. Like, if you have a dog out, you have to have it on a leash. It's an animal. You don't know it can be trained as properly as you want to train it. It's still an animal. It could snap at any time and, flip out. You need to have your dog on a leash.
I think people with their dogs not on leash, or not on a leash for a reason. I think it's
why? What benefit do they have to have the dog not on a leash?
I don't know. It's just the dog is always with them. It doesn't stray. It's a very calm dog. Like I'm saying the reason they don't have it on a leash is because they know it's not going to do anything.
Well, you need to have like a failsafe if it does do something. It's an animal.
You're talking about it like it's a fucking rabid raccoon, dude. It's a dog.
Well,
Like
it's not a raccoon.
if you know the dog, you know
it
the
is a
dog.
dog.
I think, yeah.
I have been bit by dogs when I'm running before.
Was the dog on a leash?
No.
Okay. Listen, I don't really care. I think most dogs who aren't on a leash are not on a leash for a reason. And it's the owner's fault. If they don't trust their dog. But where were you bit by a dog? What was it, just around?
It was when I was still living at home. I was out for a run one day, and like the dog like bit the back of my calf. Like it was not a like debilitating injury or anything, but it was like I shouldn't have to get bit by your stupid dog.
Yeah,
Put your dog on
okay.
a stupid leash. Like
That's fair.
The argument I'm making is like I understand what you're saying, where like they trust their dog, but what is the benefit to not having the dog on a leash for you? Like because you look cool that your dog is trained, just put your dog on a leash.
Yeah.
That way, if something happens, you're still in control of the situation. It doesn't mean you have to be like restraining the dog at all times, that a leash has to be super tight. But if I run by, I don't want to have to be sitting in the back of my head being like, am I going to get attacked? Or am I going to have to sprint away from this dog? Like, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah. No, I get it. That makes sense. It is just easier to put a leash on it. Yeah. Rat list, how's the weather, man? We had 2 nice days of 70 degrees, and now it's just back to cold again.
The fake spring
back
got
to cold
us.
again. Yeah. It's just back to cold again. Those 70-degree days were nice.
It's gonna be in the 50s today. We're a little bit back.
It's gonna rain.
Is it?
Here. It's gonna rain here.
We got some rain last night, so I can completely feel that. Well, what does it matter what my forecast is? Yeah, not supposed to get rain today, but tomorrow I'm supposed to get rain.
Maybe not. Maybe it's raining later this week. But it was gonna rain at one point today, so who knows? We might get snow on Monday.
We need to get we got to cancel that. We all need to like turn our car heat on and open the doors when it's supposed to snow. That way we can all prevent any snow from sticking. We need to do something about this.
Definitely not.
We need to make a dome. We got to do something. I don't want to do that on the show. Rat list is just my hips have been fucking killing me. I tried to stretch one of my hips. I sound like an old person, but I've been running more regularly lately with the weather being nice. I've just been outside. My left hip is super tight, and I went to stretch it yesterday. Not a good time. I need to just start strengthening them and stuff, but my hip muscles are stupid weak. I don't know what to do with them. If you have any suggestions in the comments, I know when I had my back problems, people were telling me stretch this dude actually did help me. So I do stretch all the time. Like I'm always doing stuff before I run, which is a rat list in itself. It takes me like a half hour to get out the door before I go. Whereas like back in the day, I would just roll out of bed and go for a run. It would take me so much less time. But yeah, just annoying hip problems.
I don't know how this happened, but Ratless, I was playing basketball the other day, and I just have a cut on my arm. I don't know who scratched me. I don't know who got me, but I was being guarded by Kari and Bobby K. So one of them, if I had to guess, that would be the most likely culprit. I don't know which one of them did it, but I was getting bodied for sure.
I get cuts and stuff all the time. When I play, like every time I come home and my girlfriend's like, well, who did that to you? And I'm just like, I don't even know. It just, you don't even really feel it in the moment a lot of times. Sometimes I'll just be bleeding. And like, I had no idea that happened to me. Just part of the game. I try and cut my nails as much as I can to prevent doing that to other people. But it just happens. I always kind of catch it in the moment when I do it to someone. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get you. There was one where I got a huge like scrape cut, whatever, on my forearm. And they didn't call a foul. And like, when I play, I am not a complain to the refs guy. Like, there's nobody more honorable on the mic when I'm like, I hate when guys complain about the refs because I never do it. I walk the walk on that one. I don't just talk the talk. But I had to turn the ref. I was like, do you see this? Like, this happened to me. This is why I was like, I thought I got fouled. And they were like, oh, they conceded that one.
I love when the fouls
go
audible. Ahead. I was just gonna say, I love when the fouls because then there's no argument. You just hear it, and it's like, okay, yep, foul.
The fouls just call themselves. It's wonderful. Rat List is the March Madness tournament yesterday. I was watching the Santa Clara Kentucky game, and I had Santa Clara in the bracket that I have that was doing the best. And so I go to text my chat of friends that I'm in the bracket pool with, like, wow, what a shot by Santa Clara. And as I'm typing it on my phone, I hear the crowd go crazy as the dude on Kentucky banks in the half-court shot. And I was just like, damn, that sucks. And then Santa Clara just melted at the end of overtime. It was a game, I think they gave up like an 8-0 run over the last like minute and a half or something like that before it was out of reach. It's been a lot of fun to watch the tournament, though. I will say college basketball, the quality of it is so much lower than the NBA, though. De'Aaron Fox had a quote about it a couple years ago, and people got really mad at like college basketball. But like, you watch some of these teams, and it's just like there's ball pressure, and they don't know what hit them. Like the guy is like sprinting around like Bob Cousy in the 50s, like dribbling the ball as the defender chases him. He can't look around the court. He has no court vision. It's funny the way that some of like, and if any of these college D1 players like played against us, they would smoke us. But the levels to basketball that you're reminded of if you watch the NBA versus college is a crazy reality check.
It's nuts. I almost never watch college basketball except for the tournament, and just because it's just not as good. Like the product is just not as good, and my roommates are always like, "Oh, college basketball is so much better," and I'm like, "That's the craziest."
People really
fucking,
will
like,
die on that hill.
It is
there are people that are religious
take. It is objectively a worse product because they are significantly worse players. And if you want to argue that makes it more unpredictable, fine. But if you're looking to watch like good basketball and you're saying you like college basketball more, I don't know what you're smoking. It is just objectively a worse product. Like that is the whole point.
Well, the ball movement's often slower too. Like you'll watch a college game and the extra pass doesn't get made. Like I remember when I was playing in high school and my coach would talk about the difference, and it was more of like in college they're just moving the ball. Like in the NBA, it used to be a lot more. I don't even want to say it used to. There are times where it's so ISO driven where, how many times we watch Tatum and Brown take turns or Luka play my career ball, whatever player you want to pick out. But the way the Celtics play nowadays, like there is so much ball movement involved, great reads made, things like that. Like the kids in college, sometimes they just don't look like they want to give the ball up. And watching it, you don't understand why. You're just like, why would you not make the extra swing? And like, it's also easy for us who do not watch college basketball regularly, so we don't know, is it actually the right decision not to give it to that guy in the corner who actually can't shoot? Like there are players on the floor who have significant holes in their game compared to the NBA where that doesn't really happen. Usually they can just at least stand there and shoot threes now, or they wouldn't be in the game. That's like another thing that factors into it, but definitely a way different product, an odd product to watch. Still enjoyable. Like the games have been really fun. Last night, there was another game that went down to the wire. I don't remember which one it was. I apologize, but just good product overall in terms of enjoyment, not in terms of basketball.
Yeah, that's all I've got. I don't have anything else. I'm done.
I did have another one. I completely forgot what it was though. I'm so mad. I like wrote it down and everything, and I just truly do not have my final rat list as I just try and filibuster here so I can remember it. But I don't think it's happening for me. Anyways, thanks to everyone for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're here every single day with new stuff. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Game recaps are up north after each game. Other videos are here in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find the two of us streaming pregame live a half hour before each tip-off. Nick NBA has become a great part of the pregame streams. If you like him, come hang out. We're bringing in special guests as often as we can too. We're a half hour before each tip-off. Don't miss it. It's here. It's on Facebook. It's on Jack and I's Twitters, which are on the screen. We're on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are there. So if you just want those followed, they'll go right to your feed, leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Big shout out to Chris, first-time emailer today. We do appreciate it when you guys reach out to us. We read them every time we record a full one like this, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's name of the pod. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's Jackson NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Tic-tac-toe. Come on. Taco.